this was, he's on, when you got the Bearhawk, they send you a vellum drawing for the wing profile, full size. Okay, so what I did with this is I took and had it printed and then glued it down. And there's a place here in town you can buy really nice wood. And that's what this thing is. And so I glued that down here. And these holes here, these holes are not random. These are the center of every one of those lightning holes in the rib. And all the ribs were formed on this. Okay. In other words, you just take that piece there and then put your piece of aluminum in, clamp this on top of it. You can see all the dowel pins in here to line it up. And then hammer the pieces down. Okay, so you can form it on both sides. And that's how we got the ribs. Do I have?
I used a rawhide.
Do I have? I used a couple different hammers for that. Isn't there a rib? There was one rib. There we go.
Yeah.
There. Okay.
Center
so
rib.
You form that rib on this thing like so, and yeah, this will line up here on that hole and the jig holes back here. Okay, that's step one. But and this is what got me. When you go form it like that, that ain't flat no more. And so the next step is, after I got to this point, was to take it and I made these, and then these are just cut out with a fly cutter, in a 1/4 inch wide cut here. And then that you'll notice that hole is a lot larger than this hole here. Let's see.
Goes that way?
Yes, goes this way, like this. Well, yeah. Maybe this is why this rib is not in there, because it doesn't. These don't line up exactly right. I bet you this was one of the early ribs that I made, and then decided I didn't like the way I was doing it, and started over.
And then, so then you kept.
Yeah. Okay. This is where this goes down here. This is the spar starts in here. Okay.
And then you kept those cutouts.
Kept the cutouts.
And then somehow you.
Okay. Then what you do?
Get the cutouts from this thicker piece.
From this piece, yeah, and then you have to kind of soften the edges on all. Okay. Then you go take that, and you'll put this piece. You can put this on. Let's see. Somehow this fits on this fixture, but and then the next step in doing this was you can see all my lines here, was to sit and flute that, to try to get that as level as you could. And it was super important. There's another piece. Let's see if there's another piece over there that actually I have cut the flutes into it.
Looks like.
Yeah.
You marked the flutes for the.
I marked the flutes there.
Oh, here we go.
That's
for the nose section.
Yeah, for the nose ribs. Okay. So the flutes, so I have something here that I can press this with, and the flutes
so those
are recessed. That's why they're there, because you got.
Were all pressed in.
No, you just used the fluting tires, the ply. What are they? Vice grips that they ruin. Okay, to make that. Okay, and then there's a piece here to do this whole thing. That's like this someplace, and then you've got that pressed down. Then the next thing to do was to lay this in here, your sheet of aluminum. Yeah, you laid your sheet of aluminum on top of this. Put your. I'm trying to think of how I did it.
And the cutout discs.
The cutout discs
on top of the aluminum.
Yeah. Okay. So you'd have let's say a piece aluminum sheet like here, then put the plate on, then put these discs on, then another flat, walk over to the press, slamp it down, and then that gives you a flare that's like this.
Impression light.
Huh?
So
And it's 1/8 of an inch. It, the average person to sit down compared to the way Bob Barrows laid out to do this, I think it takes you less time to make all this damn tooling, okay, and make the parts. Because once you get down to this point, you're cutting the parts on, this is used as a cover plate, and I have this had at one time for every single piece, a piece like this, and this you lay down on top of the aluminum, and then there's a piece like this that would go underneath the part.
that's a router guide.
That has the wheel on the bottom
ball
of it.
bearing
Okay.
the ball bearing on the follower on the cutter.
Yeah.
Right. And you can rip. I mean, I could cut out 4 ribs at a time this way. I mean, it takes
So
you
stack up 4 pieces of aluminum.
4
put the
pieces of
guide on
aluminum.
there.
You've got these holes are common to every place on here. Those holes will line up with something,
Okay.
like that one.
Yep. Your hydraulic press.
Yeah. And in fact, I actually had one that was a little lighter weight than that one. But
And so all the parts, that was the first step then, is cutting out all the parts.
yeah. And then the way Bob had it, and they called it a Bob stick, was just a piece of wood that had a fine cut in it, and you'd sit there and work your way around every one of those holes. That'd take you a winter just to flare the ribs.
Yeah.
But then with this thing, if you press it with the aluminum, the part is in between this and then the cutouts.
Yeah.
And you
it.
press
On top
that,
of it,
and then
yeah.
you get your holes
So
flared.
that's how I got that double flanging on it, and it's just offset 1/8 of an inch is
How many
all it
times
is.
did you have to run it through the press? Like,
Oh, you have to
Each
boom, boom, boom,
hole.
boom, boom like that.
yeah.
So you had to run the press down once over each hole, basically.
I think I had that press. I can't remember what I had up to do it, and I didn't.
Actually, now that I think about it, like
I didn't use
individually, or did you kind of have a flat thing and try and press them all
You
down
just
at the same time?
had all you had when you were looking at it. You had a flat piece of wood, okay, on
Yeah.
both sides of this, so you didn't even see the aluminum. So you'd have a sheet of aluminum laying. Well, heck, with this one you'd have all your centers in here. Put the aluminum down, lay that down on top of it.
Okay.
And that's why
Okay.
you cut that bigger than your.
Yeah,
Yep.
and the fly cutter gives you exactly the offset that you want. So you didn't have to do any more. You cut this hole,
Yeah.
and then the piece you dropped
then
on
the
the floor
drop
was exactly the right
Is
diameter.
the perfect thing for you.
Yeah, and I did, clean them up on the
I understand.
thing, and it took, I bet you spent less than a week making all the ribs.
Here's I guess this is an example of what those
Yeah. What
those flanges look
that's
like. Or the flares, I guess you
Yeah.
would call it. Well, flanges and flares. It's flanges
yeah,
and flares.
and that you'll see that from there to there is about 1/4 of an inch. That's exactly what the flight cover leaves you. Yeah, that whole process is this rib's got a lot of curve in it from flanging it over, and you do that. When you do this, finish this job, the rib goes back flat. You put the scallops, you put the scallops in it because you gotta do something because to shrink.
The flange is longer.
Well, to shrink that, and then by the time you come out, you got a really solid piece that's dead flat, and
Good thinking.
it's.
And they are like, I've been working on the way, the wing.
Well, I got anal about being able to not have to do anything twice. So it's like
They really are, the ribs are
They're nice.
very
Okay.
identical.
Yeah, and then there's a drilling. There's a when you'd come in here, maybe here or up here someplace, and you would do a pilot hole here, and then you'd lay your drilling template down. There's do you have one of that drilling strip still around here?
You know what? We never found it. We duplicated it.
Okay.
We kind of recreated the drill template.
Yeah, what I did is I just had and so if you look, every one of these every hole in this whole thing is done off of a template. I hate laying out, doing a layout to come up with.
Once and then
Yeah, you will lay it out once and then boom. So every one of these holes, all from here all the way to the end, they're all identical. Oh, and I took the CNC mill there and made the drilling template. And I think it might have been about 18 inches long. But you'd come in and you could put a pilot hole there, and then you just work it down until you got to the far end of things. And that saves you so damn much time in the process. Like on these things, these are template to drill every one of these holes. And then to come back and drill all the stiffener ribs. There's a template to drill, but that it's I guess it's there was nothing in all the if you read the Bearhawk forum on how to build it and all that, there was